All right, welcome back. Let's try something a little different. Each of our panelists here is going to have to stand in for somebody else's shoes and tell us if they were in those shoes, what they would do. And let's start off with our favorite congressman, Mr. Shays here. And let's say you draw the unfortunate short straw of being John Boehner tonight here.
I would love to be John Boehner.
There we go. We're going to make your skin a little bit with a perpetual tan, maybe squirt a few tears. Cry us a river. All right. Now, yeah, exactly. Now, you got to deal with a few rationals, okay? And then you've got a right flank here that I don't know on what planet they come from, but they are proudly saying they want to shut down the government. And when you have the Karl Roves of the world today, other Republicans saying, this is not a good tactic. Okay. What are you doing? You're John Boehner. You're trying to herd cats. How do you do it?
Well, first off, what's involved in both with Democrats and Republicans is you don't, if you're in the leadership, you don't bring the bill in unless you can pass it without any help from the other party.
As Mr. Boehner has learned the hard way.
And that's unfortunate. But on the debt ceiling, that should not apply. He should simply say to his caucus, this is too important issue, we're having a vote. Whether you want to vote yes or no, you're a member, like 434 others, you can vote no. I'm not telling you to vote yes. It's coming to the floor. And then he gets enough Republicans, could be a minority of Republicans, and a majority of Democrats, and pass the debt ceiling. Get that off the table. Every member gets to vote the way they want, but they don't get to hold up the vote and prevent it from coming to the floor.
But Mr. Speaker, you're still the Speaker after you've put everybody's feet to the fire.
And it may be that I'm not the Speaker after, but there's a certain point. I think he would gain so much respect around the country that the Republicans would say he's got to stay. Then you got the next one, which is the budget, passing a budget for next year, and then you simply work it out with the president and say we're going to have to compromise. You're going to have to compromise, and then that's a different issue. I only want to be Speaker through the debt ceiling.
All right, Tom. Let's say you're Chris Christie and you're thinking about 2016. I think you're more than thinking about it, but anyway. Do you tack right here?
Oh, that's a great
picture. In order to get those conservative credentials, or do you try and say, hey, I want to win with the biggest margin I can in November, because that's going to help me more, so I got to tack more to the middle. Which way do you go?
You know what? I think that the thing about Chris Christie is that he never puts himself in any type of label box. As I think the thing that we love most about him is that he speaks his mind. And I think the politician that, I kept trying to look for this quote from Teddy Roosevelt that, sort of, puts his feet in the sand on a beach as opposed to puts his legs in a bunch of concrete. He moves with the ebb and flow of the tide. And I think Chris Christie, depending on the issue, he's going to say what's on his mind, and that's going to be the priority. Now, listen, let's not be foolhardy here and think that if you're running for President of the United States and you have an eye towards being President of the United States, you're not going to. But again, if he really was interested in that, I'm not quite sure right out of the box he would have picked a fight with Rand Paul. So it says to me that you can make an argument there's a calculus there, but why go as one of your first things is to tick off a group of the Paul supporters who tend to be younger and don't like the whole NSA thing.
He knew they'd never be in his camp, but if he picked the fight, and I think he won the fight.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that helped him. My only thing is his greatest strength is authenticity. Right. Whether it's real and it comes across that when he says something, you believe that, and win a primary.
I believe so, because I think that the Republican Party is dying to win an election and understands that ultimately we need somebody who can compete in
But didn't they swallow hard and try that with Romney?
No, I don't think we did, because I think that what they did with Romney was they pushed Romney around. You're not going to push Christie around. I mean, Christie is a very good debater. He will take them on, and he'll make the argument. I've been supported by Democrats. I've been supported by independents. I represent a state that has gone Democrat for a long time. And the argument that we need to win those and be genuine in who we are, that we can't be a far right. But in some cases, we may have far right positions. I mean, like in the case of Christie, remember, pro-life, opposed to gay marriage. But again, it's not who he is. He doesn't send out, we'll talk about with the Pope a little bit later, is that it's the optics of it a lot of times.
I want to ask you about the other governor, Assemblywoman, and of course I'm talking about Governor Cuomo here. a lot.
So what's she going to
I'm
look
worried
like?
Yeah,
about my
exactly.
picture.
No picture on that one. Trust me. Oh, God.
That's
All right. Reportedly, the governor, go back to the better looking picture, he's in favor of a tax cut. It's a worst kept secret going on. You probably know much more than you let on at the moment, and he's going to push for it in the next year's spending plan. We're already hearing that you got mayors in a lot of the tougher cities saying, really? How exactly do you suggest that we make up for these shortfalls? Everybody likes a tax cut. But do you think this governor's going to come to regret it if he follows through?
an election year tax cut. He's up for re-election next year.
Yes.
Very important.
I don't see how we can have a tax cut. I don't see it. I think you, not only the mayors of the cities, but you have all these members, assembly members and senators like myself who represent a city of 200,000. Less money? We're dying on the vine. And everyone who has a pension obligation, a contract that's not negotiated, a school that just laid off 300 people, I don't think the members will go along. I think taxpayers are frustrated about taxes, but he's slowed the rate of growth. And even though it's hard to explain to everyone, I think people do understand there's a tax cap in New York, and to go above a 2% raise in your property tax, you have to go through basically a supermajority, and it has drastically slowed the rate of growth. And I think people are generally realistic enough to know they want services. They don't want that you call a fire department and you have to wait an hour for EMS to come when your mother's having a heart attack. They want the services. I think they're willing to pay for them. They don't like the growth, but I think if he continues to slow the rate of growth, he'll be fine. But a cut in taxes would be really going, I don't think it can pass.
But the challenge, and I think he realizes this, is the Northeast is dying. And it's dying because people are moving south.
Yep.
Businesses are moving south. We're in competition with 49 other states. And right now, New England, Connecticut and New York are losing ground.
You know, Congresswoman, Assemblywoman, is that
She'll take the promotion. Go ahead.
you know, and her reputation, we should promote her. The point is that he talked as Attorney General about a very important issue that I personally talked about in 1991. And that's consolidation of services.
I'm all with you.
And we need somebody like yourself, somebody respected, to stand there and say, listen, it's not about cutting someone's job now. It's about making sure that when they retire, we don't need to replace it. A place like Eastchester does not need 3 superintendents of schools.
Wow.
We don't need 3 school buildings. If you went throughout the state of New York, the layer after layer
With all
after
due
layer.
respect, though, I did this in New Jersey when they went through the whole consolidation thing. You're right. There is waste, there's duplication, but when it's all said and done, it's pennies on a dollar. There is not as much savings as we'd like to
Richard,
admit.
you are absolutely.
I went through this with all
well,
the
I don't know.
mayors and all the-
Well, I don't know what they're doing in New Jersey, but I can tell you what we saw in our little town of Eastchester.
Well, some
where
are union shops, some aren't. You can have a town and a
Listen,
city. It
you-
just
you-
doesn't neatly
listen,
fit in together.
You know what? If we can figure out getting people in the same room and understanding, listen, we had simple little things of 3 different gas fill-up sites in the town of Eastchester. To remove and replace one of them was over $28,000 because of remediation. When you start adding those numbers across the state, it is mind-boggling. When you have a village
Is he
assessor,
right
a
or
town
no?
assessor,
Here's what I would say.
it's a lot of it.
The worst, ironically, is in Long Island, where the Republican state senators have absolutely protected this little area, little fiefdom for their people.
No
it is
question.
the most egregious, and I agree with you.
Absolutely.
I think you have to be smart about it. When Andrew Cuomo was Attorney General, and then his first year in governor, they passed a bill that facilitated these consolidations. Nothing really happened. Nobody wants to do it.
Sounded good.
Same reasons. It sounded good. It really didn't sound good enough for anybody to do it. I think if you make smart decisions about consolidation and you create real incentives, and it can't be the short-term loss of the
And
job.
tie it to the tax cut.
Yeah. I want to see
that
this
would
next
be-
picture here.
idea.
Dominic, you're Bill de Blasio.
Oh boy.
Are they going to give you the afro? Let me see
Oh
here.
boy.
There we go.
We have to get these.
Now, Dominic,
I
I
like
heard
that. It wasn't bad.
Now,
It wasn't bad.
Bill with a good-looking kid here with a fro, it worked for him. But the message he had was the 2 New Yorks, right? Does that play for him in the general? If you're Bill de Blasio now, Do you tone down on what critics say is class warfare and try and tack back to the middle and say, forget what I said, Wall Street, I love you like a brother? Or do you double down on what got you a surprise victory in the primary?
If I'm Bill de Blasio, it's now time to do that two-step back to the middle. I've won the primary, the far left. Christine, she thought she was going to be the first woman mayor. I beat her. Billy Thompson thought he was going to beat me. I out-blacked Billy Thompson. I'm the new black man in town. It looks kind of weird me saying that, right?
Well,
but anyway, I'm Bill de Blasio. The picture did look good if I don't say so myself. If you're Bill de Blasio, you move away from the tale of two New Yorks, but you continue doing what he's doing. If you look at his schedule, he's on every black radio station in New York. He appeared today at the Amsterdam News, a black newspaper in New York City. You continue, he's hit the cruise control button. I'm going to try and ignore Joe Lhota as much as I
Dante out of school
can.
and bringing him with him wherever he goes? Yeah.
Dante, whatever you do, my son, don't get a haircut. My daughter, come back from school, come on the campaign trail with me. I'm the next mayor. New York is mine, baby.
Mayor,
Yes.
if you go after Wall Street, Connecticut will be delighted to have them.
Right, but you see, but I'm not going to go after Wall Street. Now comes in the different
Darn.
messages.
Yeah.
Different messages. Tale of two New Yorks, but when I go to Wall Street, I love you, baby. When you go to Wall Street.
I want to see what Andrew and Joe Lhota look together.
Let's see that one.
This is, can I get the picture? Oh my God.
That's very dour. Very dour.
Well, you know what? He's not exactly known as Captain Sunshine. Talk about Andrew. No, I'm talking about Lhota. Now, what do you do? The polls show you got a 50% margin against Dominic, Mr. de Blasio. How do you possibly close that?
Can I get a close-up on that camera? Congressman, ask me to smile.
Smile, baby.
I am smiling. I am smiling.
Say
So-
legalize poker.
this is-
Legalize poker.
So he needs to smile.
I have to
This is
lighten
how
up just like I'm doing right now. I need to get that gleam in my eye and show that I'm not a very... He comes across as being so serious and
No, that's
so
you.
dour and just lighten up a little bit.
You're him. You can't
He
change.
needs to lighten up, and he needs to, not be as stiff, as stern as he's been. I think he comes off a little frightening.
He's
to
a
some
very
people.
capable guy.
He is, but he just needs to let his personality out of his.
I think his problem also is if he talks about his credentials, they say, well, wait a minute, what were you? You did fare hikes? Because what do you do at the MTA? You raise the fares. It's a tough sell to say, I think you did a great job during the storm.
But he has to run the. Listen, the fact is that the MTA is the best deal New York has going for it. I mean, it's the best.
Everybody complains about the fare hikes. I'm with you.
but you know what? At some point, you need adults running the operation.
It could have been even higher.
It could have been a lot higher, and they don't recognize that. They want the trains running on time. They want to be picked up. They want air conditioning. They want this. They want that. And then they want the unions.
Tom, you'll like this. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the president getting chewed out by two former defense secretaries.
Excellent,
There we
excellent.
go.
Let's talk about something.
We're talking the serious situation, and also maybe if I had to do it over again, how the president might have handled it. Stay with us.